What's up, gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. I'm Joshua Hall. I talk about dating, travel, money, and pretty much whatever else I feel like talking about. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get into the topic of this video, and that is the truth about dating in Eastern Europe, especially for black men or people with a little bit more melanin, such as myself. Because undoubtedly, some of you are going to say, oh, but you are not black enough. Well, guess what? In Eastern Europe, do you think they think I am a white person there? The answer is no. So let's go ahead and get into this video. Now, I'm going to cover some very basic things so you have the proper context for this video. And that is, first of all, going to be, why would you want to go to Eastern Europe? And obviously, that is because of the cost of living, for one. The things there are going to cost a fraction of what they cost in the United States or many other Western countries. Whether this is nightlife, whether this is your everyday living, whether this is restaurants, whether this is the cost of where you live, it doesn't matter. Everything is going to be less expensive. So that means you can have a higher quality of life, which is the second reason you would be interested in Eastern Europe. So because your overall cost of living is less, that means you can afford more. And oftentimes, even if you can afford more, that doesn't mean you're going to increase your cost. You can likely decrease your overall cost of living while increasing your standard of living. So you might be able to have a housekeeper, you might be able to get regular, normal massages or things like that, or you might be able to live in the best areas, and all of this is probably going to be significantly less expensive than your current lifestyle wherever it is that you come from. And maybe you have a great lifestyle wherever it is you are, but you might want to go to another place so that you can keep more of your money. Now, finally, and probably the most obvious and probably most likely reason, especially for the people I talk to on this channel, is the quality of women that you can obtain. Because it is no secret that women in Eastern Europe are fit, feminine, and friendly. And most importantly, they do not have outrageous standards. That doesn't mean they don't have any standards at all, but they are not going to be nearly as high as the women from your country. In fact, most of the 9s and 10s from the United States, for example, would probably be like a 6 or 7 in Eastern Europe. Now, with all that said, there are some things you need to know. You are going to have to behave yourself. Don't expect to go over there thinking you're Mr. Big Shot and acting like you're God's gift to Earth. Because there are significant cultural differences, and we'll get more into that in a little bit. And so the best thing you can do is to act like a gentleman. Don't go over there acting like you deserve the world. Next, you're going to want to dress well. Now, this is kind of funny because even in some of the other places around the world that I go to, Latin America, Western Europe, Asia, all over the place, people will show up to dates or nightclubs or restaurants in like their pajamas, or like they're about to go to the beach and kick it. And they get denied to these places, and then they scream racism or they scream they're classist or what may have you. And while that could be true in some sense of the word, especially classist, guess what? Some places have standards for who they want to let in to their establishment. And so, for example, I was somewhere in Asia and they didn't let this person into the club, and he happened to be black, and he was screaming, oh, it's racist, blah, 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 and they let me in. But guess what? He was wearing like board shorts and I was wearing the stuff that I usually wear. And so obviously we had different experiences because I was dressed the part. And you need to do the same thing, especially in Eastern Europe. You need to dress well, which really isn't that difficult to do, but you're going to want to dress the part. Now, this doesn't mean you need to be wearing Rolexes and Tom Ford and diamond chains and things like that. It just means looking like you are put together. So don't look like you're a cowboy, or don't look like you're going to the beach. Don't sag your pants. Don't do any of that junk. And part of the reason you'll want to do this is just because, one, it is part of the culture, but two, is because status does matter. And so do first impressions and how people view you. But most importantly, especially if you are a person of color or ethnic background, you want to distinguish yourself from the preconceived notions that some people have. And so obviously a lot of people know about the African immigrants, for example. And so you're most likely going to receive -1 or -2 points because of the view on African immigrants at this particular time. Now, you can distinguish yourself from that by dressing the part, and it will set you apart because an African immigrant does not look like what you look like. They do not dress how you dress. They do not speak how you speak. And whether you like it or not, there is a difference in how black people from the United States, Canada, the UK, etc. are viewed from the black people in Africa, because those are legacy brand countries, whereas someone from Kenya or Nigeria isn't going to be looked upon with the same status as someone from a legacy brand country. And that is maybe partially ignorance on the part of Eastern Europe, but it is what it is and you cannot change it. So with all of that said, I never once had a racist experience in Eastern Europe. I've been to a ton of different places in Eastern Europe, and I did really well dating in all those places except for Slovakia, which I have a whole video about. And technically, I don't even know if that's Eastern Europe. It might be Central Eastern, whatever. I'll just say it's Eastern Europe for the point of this video. But not once did I have an overtly racist experience. Not one single time. And I spent plenty of time in Eastern Europe. With all that said, here are some other things you will need to know. So first and foremost, you will need to know that things are massively different in Eastern Europe than they are from Western countries, especially the United States. And arguably, the most important thing you need to know is, first of all, that you are expected to lead. You are expected to be a man. And I talked about this in a previous video, but you need to be the person who essentially dictates everything. You are going to tell the woman, this is what we are doing, and she is just along for the ride. You are also going to be expected to do gentlemanly things. Open doors, buy flowers, and most importantly, I would not expect to go Dutch ever in Eastern Europe. And if you do, guess what? You're immediately going to get shut down and discarded. Also, another thing to note, this isn't going to be like Colombia, Brazil, Asia. It's going to take some time in order to seal the deal, if you know what I mean. Like, yes, there are going to be occasions that you will be able to seal the deal faster, but it is not the same kind of culture as it is in parts of Southeast Asia or Latin America. All right, so my neighbor has decided to blast music, so I'm going to have to wrap this video up super fast. So there are some cultural differences in addition to what I just shared with you. But in general, what you need to know is you're going to have an open mind if you choose to go to Eastern Europe, because there are significant cultural differences. I will also point out that the women in Eastern Europe do not play games. And they're very direct, and they are going to be clear with their intentions with you. And hopefully the music blasting in the background isn't being picked up by this mic, But before we end this video, I'm going to give you 3 suggestions of countries in Eastern Europe that you should try. First one, Poland. Second one, Lithuania. Third one, Latvia or Moldova. And I know this is different than the 3 that I shared with you in the previous video, but the context for that video is different than this video. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video, a little bit longer than my usual videos. So once again, I hope you enjoyed it. And by the way, if you didn't see my community post, when this channel brings in $1,000 in revenue, whether that is super chats, donations, ad revenue, then I am going to go to one of these countries that you guys recommend, and I will live stream and I'll share the culture with you, and maybe I'll go on some dates and share those with you as well. So if you want to see that happen, you can go to the community tab and vote, or leave a comment down here and let me know which country that you would like me to go to if that's something you're interested in. And as always, like, comment, subscribe. It helps with the algorithm. It will also help us get that ad revenue quicker, because as soon as I hit that number, or within a week or so, then I will go off to one of these places, since I make money online, obviously, and so I can do whatever the fuck I want. Pretty nice, huh? All right, so thank you for watching. I truly appreciate it, and I will see you guys in the next video. And as always, peace, much love.